Peace.
Peace.
This is Joshua Miller Law, Mr. PhD. You're just now entering the cipher called Real2reel360. KYs.
Peace, God.
Bring that beat in, kid.
Indeed.
Peace.
Yeah. What's going on, party people? Welcome to the Real2reel360 show. Let's get it in. We do the knowledge of wisdom so you can understand. Real2reel360 shows in full command. We changing the game for how it all was taught. From bondage to freedom to an independent thought. Yo, the show is here to bring about a change for real. To lighten everyone so we all know the deal. 360 degrees is a fact. We created the show to give our love back to our communities so we can know what's going on and give them the support from knowledge to born. So if you're ready to learn, then it's time to go. Sit back and relax and enjoy your show. Peace.
Peace to Allah's mighty 5% nation of God's earth, to all the human families on the planet Earth. We bid you a love, peace, and happiness high salute. I am DJ KYs, aka Kato, the Black Superhero. Welcome to the Real2reel360 show. Well, listen, tonight it's all about fanning out. It's all about giving flowers to one of the greatest who has done it, still doing it in the game. I'm not going to take away the shine. I'm just going to let it blast. This is an icon, a true and living icon. So I want all of y'all around that's listening, I want y'all to get up on your feet when my brother introduces this man and clap your hands and give him the love and respect he surely deserves. But right about now, I got to bring on my co-host with the most. We going to get it in. This is my baby brother. Y'all know who he is. My B.I.G. PhD. Let's go.
Am I the meanest?
Sure enough.
Am I the baddest mofo low down around this time?
Sure enough.
But who am I?
Joshua Miller Law.
Who am I?
Joshua Miller Law.
I can't hear you.
Joshua Miller Law, Mr. PhD.
Peace, little bro. What's good?
Peace to all our followers, likers, and subscribers. Make sure that you're sharing this live right here, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, or YouTube. Make sure you go ahead and share this. Yes, your baby brother is spoiled, and I'm on here. Thank you, my sister Lynn. First and foremost, I want to say condolences to Wendell B's family. We lost a legend in Southern Soul today. Condolences goes out to Jay Shanae. Condolences go out to Reggie Snowden. When it comes down to Wendell B, we definitely lost a great man today in Southern Soul and soul music. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure if you see them, make sure you give them the love that they deserve. But today's show, we're going to go on to today's show. This man is an icon. You're talking about 4 or 5 decades of music. His song is still played at the clubs today. He still is booking. He's still performing. He still is making women fall out when you hear his song.
Yes, sir.
This man is a legend, an icon, and we're very humbled to have him on today.
Absolutely.
It's the one and only Mr. Lenny Williams.
Everybody,
bring him on, okay?
Round of applause.
I appreciate that. Yes.
Mr. Lenny.
Mr. Williams, good evening, sir.
Good evening. How y'all doing?
Man, doing great, Mr. Williams. Like I said, it's an honor and a privilege to have you on today.
Lenny? Yeah.
Yo, just want to make sure, give you the proper respect because you've earned it over these years, and the things that you have done, the places you have been, the songs that you have sang have birthed a whole 2, 3, 4 generations.
Yeah,
So we have to give you what's the flowers that are due. For any individual, for whatever reason, whether they done fell and bumped their head, could you please just introduce yourself to our followers and listeners?
Yeah, I'm Lenny Williams, and a lot of people call me, the OOO man, because I love you. and been singing and writing for 50, 55, 60 years, and just appreciative of all the success that I have, with just the opportunity to do music. And I'm just like humbled by it, that that the dream I had, is came to fruition and became real, and I'm still out here living the dream.
Mr. Williams, when did your journey in music actually start?
Well, I don't know. My mom told the story. My mom and my dad, they and my brother and sister, the older brother and sister, they moved to California from Arkansas, and then I stayed back in Arkansas with my grandmother. And then I came out, and I was around about, I don't know, 14, 15 months old or something. I don't, and my mom had taught me how to say my prayers. So she had a bunch of the old women from the church over the house, and she said, Leonard Charles know how to say his prayer. So they all gathered around, and I said, Our Father, and then I threw my hands in there and said, Hey, Baba Rebop, which was a big hit at the time. And so I guess I've been singing ever since I was, just a little kid, in diapers, and singing the choir at church. I went to church with Sly Stone's family, the Stewart family, with Walter Hawkins and Ed Hawkins, their family, and just always been around music. When we moved to California, they had the church, and right in the middle of the block was the radio station. You can go down there and see the DJ. So I was always around music, either at church or down there hanging, looking in the window at the radio station. And so it's just been a part of my life, and playing the band at school and stuff like that. So just always been surrounded by music and want to be involved in it.
Now, when you first started actually singing, did you start out in a group, or were you, because what was it about singing or that pushed you in that direction? What actually pushed you in the direction of singing? Was it you in a group with individuals and you just broke out on your own? How did that work out?
Well, I sang in a choir at church. Then you have the different little quartet groups and stuff like that in the church. And so I'm listening to all the quartet singers and stuff. And I was, kind of gravitating toward that. Got in a couple of little church bands singing, quartet singing, trying to sing all the Sam Cooke songs and stuff like that. And then one day my buddy wanted me to sing to his little girlfriend, across town. So I sang Jerry Butler's song, Your Precious Love, to her. And then next thing I know, she wanted to holler at me. I was like, oh, some benefits to this stuff, right? Or something. And, so I told my boys, man, your little girlfriend, she called me on the phone, wanted me to sing to her and her friends and stuff. And so I started doing that. And then I guess around the age of 17, 18, I started just going to talent shows, singing, win that little money. I was going to college, win that little money that they had. And then one day somebody just asked me about a guy named Ray Shanklin that worked for Fantasy Records, was there, and said, you want to make a record? And then that's when it really all started.
Now, back then, when you were introduced or was approached about making the record, how was the business part of it then that's different from the business today?
It's probably about the same thing, you know what I mean? It was shiesty, and I was so excited. I mean, I read the contract. I knew I should have gotten a lawyer, but I couldn't afford no lawyer. I barely could afford the rent. I had 2 sons at that time, and so I scanned it and saw that stuff about in perpetuity and forever and ever and all that stuff, and I signed it. I just signed it. I was just so eager. But me, I signed with Fantasy, and the owner of Fantasy Records was a guy named Saul Zantz, and he's pretty fair. He's fair with me, and when I got ready to leave the company, I just asked him if I could leave, and then he let me go, and then I had become more wiser. But it's interesting. On the same hand, at the same time he signed me, he signed a little group called the Gollywogs, which turned into Creedence Clearwater Revival, and John Fogerty, who wrote all those songs. Proud Mary and all that stuff like that. Born on the Bayou, him and Saul had a very contentious relationship and they wound up suing each other and everything. So I was just blessed that him and I never had a big battle about the contract. And but like I said, my John Fogerty and him, they fought until Saul died, over publishing, songwriting, record royalties and everything. So I was real fortunate that I came out of that unscathed. I didn't have any bumps and bruises from that.
Right now, you spoke about growing up with Sly Stone's family and being around other individuals in the music business
Right.
at the time. And this is prior to y'all actually like making music, like y'all grew up together.
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up in church, and we'd have musicals and the Stewart family, which was Sly's family, the Hawkins family, which was Walter and Ed and Tremaine, and then we fellowship. We lived up in Oakland, and we'd fellowship with the churches down there in Los Angeles, and then I was fellowshipping with Andre Crouch and Billy Preston and all of them. And so I grew up around all these fantastic singers and musicians. And yeah, and then when I was a teenager, I started preaching. So I was a teenage preacher around about 18, well, maybe like 17, 18, 19. And so they'd have all the musicals and we'd all get together and I'd be, the one to be in charge because I'm the preacher, and everything. And make sure that I'd raise the offering and all that stuff, and then I'd sing a little bit and kind of in the background. But I was just kind of absorbing all of the knowledge and everything like that. And eventually, I just kind of like left church and got it there and started doing the R&B.
Now,
You,
Miss,
let me ask you. You grew up in a you came along in a very strong era in time from the 60s, 70s decade where we had racial issues going on in America. We had the Vietnam War going on and things of that nature. So
Right.
how was it for you in those times to where you was able to focus yourself on the music side instead of like when they come, try to dodge people for the draft and so forth and so on. And, we had a lot of the Black Panther Party, Black Power going up against so many things going
Right.
on. So how was that for you coming up in the music world that time?
Well, I was involved in all of that because, Huey Newton and Bobby Seale, I went to school with them. And so, I was involved with Huey Newton. My birthday is February 16th and his birthday is February 17th. So we would celebrate our birthdays together and things like that. And then Angela Davis was, she was a good friends with my nephew. And her and I became good friends. And so I was deeply involved in it. As a matter of fact, my pastor was kind of like, he wanted us to kind of stay out of that. He wanted us to stay out of the whole civil rights thing when when the young people were kind of moving away from the NAACP and moving away from Dr. Martin Luther King, to start talking about fighting back and doing a lot of protesting and things like that. He wanted us to kind of cool down a little bit. So that plus the fact that that the Ku Klux Klan and all these white citizens groups, they professed that Jesus Christ was their Lord and Savior, and I'm saying he's mine. And then it's like, but maybe he ain't mine, So then I just walked away from the church, and then I just like, well, I don't want to stop using my gift because if I stop using my, if you don't use it, you lose it, right?
Sure.
And then that's when I decided that I wanted to. So I could, wouldn't lose my voice for singing. That I would start doing secular music, doing what we call worldly music, and that was the turning point for me, in to move from gospel to soul music.
now, Mr. Lenny, when it came down to you being around Sly and all, did y'all ever get together and just say, "Man, we actually made it"? Our dreams are starting to come true because all of y'all started to rise and reach up to a certain pinnacle seemingly at the same time. Did that ever dawn on you at that time?
Yeah, I mean,
Or did y'all have that conversation?
we have the.
Uh-oh.
Somebody must be trying to call.
You probably called. There you go. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Mr. Lenny? Yeah. Hold on one second, Mr. Lenny. You might have to your phone.
We
Somebody
can't
have to
hear
pop
you,
in.
Mr. Williams. You might have to
can't
go
hear
back out.
Yeah, right now it's fine.
There you go. There
We
you
couldn't
go.
hear you.
Yeah.
We
Oh
couldn't
yeah,
hear you at first.
some call was coming. I should have put it on
Do
airplane
not
mode.
disturb. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was funny when Sly moved to Beverly Hills and invited me to the house. I'm going up to the house and I'm like, it looked familiar, and I'm like, I know I ain't never been to Beverly Hills before. And then we get to talking and find out the house right across the street was where they used to film the Beverly Hillbillies. I said, no wonder it looked familiar, And so just to grew up with you, and then all of a sudden, they living right across the street from the Beverly Hillbillies, and Doris Day coming over to his house, famous actress and stuff. It's like wow, and then to see, Walter Hawkins and Ed Hawkins and doing their thing. And so yeah, it's like, man, it's like Ed and I used to catch the bus together going to work. We were working when we was 18, 19. We lived in Oakland, but we was working in San Francisco and catch the bus, and the K bus, yeah, and then now, we flying all over the place, catching airplanes, and so we realized that we were, really blessed, to live out our dream.
Now, want to go ahead and segue into this iconic song that's been lasting for generations.
Right.
When you wrote the song, man, do I even have to say the title? Because I think that everybody knows the name of this song. When you wrote that song, you can feel the energy in that song. When you broke that song down and started talking, I think everybody could relate. When you said you watch TV until the TV went off, those
Right.
who don't remember the TV went off actually went off. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? When you hear that part, those of us who know about that, when you go through a hard breakup and everything else, I think that part makes everybody cry. They get to thinking about that person and they want to get back together. They start calling them and everything else. What was the inspiration actually behind that? I don't want to go and say like, was it personal for you? Because you can honestly feel that song. And I don't care, to this day, you can feel every word. Was it, how much of reality was it a part of that song for you?
Well, some of it was a personal experience. I had a little young writer that worked with me, Michael Bennett, and he used to always say he had to be inspired to write a song. I was like, man, see, if you're working for Motown, they go to work like like a regular job, and Barry got to be walking around there. What you got? What you got? They sitting at the desk or whatever, and in the corner writing, and I said, shoot, you better feel something else. You ain't gonna come to work the next day and get paid from Mr. 40. And
Uh-huh.
so then one day he came by to write, and I was like, I didn't feel like it. And he was like, oh, but what would you tell Mr. Gordy? You don't feel like it? And I was like, okay, you got me. So then I was, why you writing? I said, me and my girl got into it last night. And so then he said, well, let's write about that. And then that's how we came up with Cause I Love You. But all of it wasn't about me, but the impetus to write the song was about me and get started on it, and me and my girl. But then I start bringing in things about my boys when when they break up with their girlfriends, how they be don't want nobody to see them crying and all that, but they are, and so just to bring it that pain that I know my people feeling, and then the day that I heard that song, I was down in Los Angeles. And my producer, Frank Wilson, told me that Andre Crouch and his sister, Sandra Crouch, wanted to come to the studio that day. So at that time, Andre was the greatest, gospel, arranger and songwriter, and so he's sitting there and I'm in the studio, and he's looking me right in my face, and
Mhm.
I'm trying to make Andre wave his hand or shout or want to put some money in the offering. So then I'm digging deep, get as emotional as I could, to get Andre to nod his head and pat me on the back. Yeah, yeah. So I was really performing for Andre Crouch's appreciation, yeah, and his approval.
All right. Well, right now we want to go into the iconic song "Cause I Love You," but Mr. Williams, Mr. Lenny, could you please introduce the song for us?
All right, all right, all right. We sitting here, we having a good time, and we're gonna play that song from written in 1974 and came out in 75, and then I didn't tell you that I did that song twice, right? I did it the first time I did it didn't have the talking in it,
No.
and then I went on the road and started singing it, and then added the talking in there, and we're gonna do this song for you called "Cause I Love You."
Yes, sir. My cousin Nelly Travis.
Girl, you know I love you, no matter what you do. And I hope you understand me. Every word I say is true. 'Cause I love you. Baby, I'm thinking of you. Trying to be more of a man for you. I don't have much of a chance, but we gonna see it through. 'Cause I love you. Oh, 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 oh. So many lots of women for their passions to feel, but I want only you, girl. If this ain't, if this ain't, if this ain't God's will, cause I, cause I. I love you, baby, with all my heart and soul. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Makes me grow stronger. Keeps me going on. Oh, baby, I'm glad I found you. I just love you around. Oh, baby, you've been so good to me. Oh, baby. Oh, 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 oh. Everybody stand on your feet right now.
Yeah.
This is my part right here.
You know, one time things got so bad until I had to go to one of my friends and talk to him. And I told him, I said, I'm having problems with the woman that I love.
It seems that I call her on the phone and I just can't get her to answer. And then I went to her house and I saw a car parked in the driveway. I knocked on the door, but still my knocks went unanswered. And then I went home and I watched television until television went off. And then I played my records until I just didn't want to hear them anymore. And finally I went to bed, but I found myself waking up a few hours later. And the tears were running down my face. And my friend told me, he said, Lenny, you just ought to forget about her. But I told my friend, I said, you know, maybe you've never been in love like I've been in love. And maybe you've never felt the things that I felt. But this is what I told my friend. I said, you know, sometimes you get lonely. You get lonely. You get lonely. Oh, 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 oh. And I cry. I cry. Oh, 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 oh. And the tears would fill up in the wells of my eyes, oh baby. And then it got so bad, till one time I thought I'd roll myself up in a big old ball and die. And then I met you, darling, and you smiled at me. Oh, oh, it was such a pretty smile, yes it was. And you reached out your hand, you helped me, you helped me. Oh, I'm glad, baby. I'm glad, baby. Oh, oh, baby. Oh, yeah. I wanna believe you, baby. I wanna agree with you, baby. I know love you. Oh, oh, baby. I'm glad. I'm glad, baby. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Oh, I love you. 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 I love you.
Woo! Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I love hearing it. Yeah, it always brings back memories, and I always get a little chilled every time I hear that song. Yeah.
I know it. I had some chills right then. I think about the days in the club. That song right there gave individuals the key to go find them somebody before the club, oh, you know what I'm saying, closed out so they can get their romance on. I put it that way.
Yeah.
Because if you can get a dance, that last dance off of Lenny Williams, "Cause I Love You," 9 months later you going to child support court. I guarantee you.
That's why they be mugging me, huh? Yeah.
Mr. Williams, did you ever think that your song would have this much of an impact to last decade upon decade upon decade?
To be honest, I didn't, and especially since it never was a single or anything like that. And like I say, I'm so grateful, I mean, it's like, man, all the songs that I've done, this one here is the one. And, it's what keeps me working. It's what, majority of my notoriety is based on that song, even though I had songs that are higher on the charts and everything, and so, just like, I don't know, like today's my dad's birthday, right? My dad, and thinking about, how I tried to live up to, having his name, and, and being a son that he would be proud of, and I kind of think that the blessings of my mom and my dad kind of came to me, through that song. Not that I was so good or whatever, but they were such good people that God just had to bless me anyway on account of them. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, right, yeah. So yeah. So I was just kind of thinking today about that. That why me? I know so many people are talented and so deserving of success. I got a little young rapper friend of mine, and he's just putting in the work all the time. And I was like, man, I just wish he could get a hit. I wanted him to have it so bad. And
Mhm.
then it's like, but it's just like sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. For some people, and it's like, man, I'm just so, like I say, just eternally grateful that I was able to write a song like that and then be able to sing it. And all these years later, 50 something years later, still out here, people want to hear me sing it. Yeah.
Yes,
It's funny because we talked stayed behind scenes about Tower Power, and our sister just got in there and wanted to know, do people know you're the voice of Tower Power as well?
Well, some people do and some people don't. The ironic thing about Tower Power, when
Mr. Lenny?
can y'all hear me?
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
Mr.
right.
Lenny?
Yeah,
yes. Oh,
Can
go in and out.
I'm going in and out.
Yeah, you good right now. You good right
Okay.
now.
The ironic thing about Tower Power was that um, when I joined the band, they had two singers. They started off having two singers in the band. Then one of them dropped out, and they had one singer. And then I came in on their third album, and then after I left, they've had about, I was counting it, at least 11 singers, maybe 12. And so it's kind of hard, so people say, oh, I saw you in whatever. Oh, no, no, that was before me. Oh, I saw you in, oh, no, that was after me. And but I say, just as long as Warner Brothers know where to send that check every quarter, and get
That's
my
right.
royalties for, writing a lot of the songs. And I
Yes, sir.
at the right time, I came along at the right time. Well, did all the Soul Train stuff, did the Midnight Special, had the big hits with Tower Power and everything like that. And so it was a great experience. And, I loved it. It was a good part of my life, but I had to leave. I met some guy not too long ago. He said, man, when you left Tower Power, I was so mad at you. I said, I understand it. It was an interracial band and I was the leader. I was out front. I said, but we had just come back from a Warner Brothers tour overseas and gone to Germany, and somebody in the band snuck some heroin over there. And I was like, man, I ain't finna go to jail for nobody. If I go to jail, I'm going to jail for me. You know what I mean? And so I said,
Mhm.
that's why I quit. And I see them youngsters from Houston. They say, oh man, we invented screw music, where they slow it
Mhm.
down. I said, no, Tower Power invented screw music. So how y'all invent screw music? I said, man, we had four guys mainlining heroin in that band. And you could tell when they scored, because we'd be like, what is hip? Tell me something. If you think you know, it just slow down. You couldn't do it up, And so, so I had to lead the band. But I'm glad to say all the guys now are all clean and sober, and they doing good, and that's a blessing right there.
That's wonderful.
Now, during that period of time, we was coming through, I guess we would say the civil rights and everything else,
Hmm.
and you was a part of an interracial group.
Right.
How was the experience being in an interracial group coming out of that different era? And shout out Kimberly Isaiah, appreciate you tuning in.
Yes.
Well, it was interesting because my first roommate in the band, when I got in the band, it was the two black guys was me and Chester Thompson. Chester played with Carlos Santana now, but it was me and him. So the obvious thing would be to put me and him in the same room because we shared rooms back then because the pay wasn't that good. We weren't making that much money, and so but they put me in a room with Greg Adams, who was the arranger for the band, right? And so I tried to be thoughtful and so when Greg would leave out and go somewhere, I would shave, but I was using Magic Shave at that time, you know, And boy, that stuff stink, you know what I mean? Mouse are fat in the house, right? So then he come back in the room and just be sinking. I guess he thought, well, just did he use the bathroom or what? You know, and I explained to him, you know, that magic shave, I do it to keep me from having the bumps and all this other kind of stuff. And so it was kind of interesting, you know, but we never really did have any real challenges. I do remember that one time we were in Canada and our sound man was driving and they were going to sound check, right? Or going somewhere, and I wasn't in the car with him, and he almost had a wreck. And and it just so happened we in Canada, and of all people that he gonna have a wreck with was this black dude driving, right? And the first thing out his mouth was "God damn," you know. And then so then everybody said, "Ooh, when we find out, you know, we might have to fire him," you know. And so they come to me because they knew I was gonna hear about it, right? And said, what you want to do, LW? I was like, you know, he apologized. I said, yeah, but that's in him, though. You know, I mean, it came out. You know, I might have said the same thing. You know, I don't know, or if somebody was fat or bald headed or something. You know, so I think that was the only real racial crisis we ever had. It wasn't directed at anybody in the band, but it was said, and you know, about 4 or 5 guys in the band heard it. And you know, so but other than that, you know, we really didn't have any big issues, you know. You know, so we got along pretty good, you know. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Now, want to ask, how was it like? Because when you would perform and somebody would try to come behind you after singing "Cause I Love You," what type of pressure was you putting on artists when they were trying to come behind you when you stepped on stage?
Yeah, people used to say, "Man, that ain't fair." You know, we be out and doing the show, and then Lenny just sometimes he might sometimes he just have me on the show just singing that. He come up and sing one song, and then you know, then we got to come behind that. That ain't fair, you know. And I was like, what can I say, you know? I mean, I can tone it down a little bit if you want me to, you know. I used to fall on my knees and everything, so you know, and all that kind of stuff. But hey, old age took care of that, right? You know, if I had, I could fall on my knees. Getting up is the thing right now, you know. But it's like, hey, you know, it's like playing dominoes or cards or whatever, you know. It's
Mm-hmm.
you just do your thing, and then everybody else got to do their thing, you know. I remember when we were starting out, and we'd be doing shows with Earth, Wind, and Fire, you know, and some nights it was us, and some nights it was them, you know, and you know, it's friendly competition. You know, when you go out and you do shows, you know, with Cool and the Gang and all of those people. I never did sing "Cause I Love You" with Tower Power. I wrote that when I was still with Tower Power, and I kept it for myself, you know. But yeah, you know, I mean, it's you know, when you see these artists on the stage, and they all, you know, 4 or 5 artists on the stage in the same show, everybody wants that audience to cheer for them, and you know, they want to cheer for everybody else too, because you want the tour to keep on going and people to, you know, to come out and support it. But you know, if somebody got $20 left after the show and they out in the, you know, in the front of the theater and they're gonna buy a CD, you want them to buy yours or buy your T-shirt or whatever. So you know, you got to put on a good show. So I never tried to be competitive, but you know, like they old folks say, water seek its own level, you know, and cream rise to the top, and you just have to respect that.
Right.
When you
Now,
when you left Warner Brothers and got signed with Motown, how was your Motown experience during those times?
Well, it was interesting because the first album, the album that I did for Motown, it I was in that like you said, it was the civil rights era. So most of the songs that I wrote were about stuff. Sons of Thieves, Slaves and Braves, and a song called Shame, you know, talking about all the drug dealing and the murders and everything. And people wasn't really ready for it. And so the Motown experience was because the record didn't sell, you know, it wasn't like a real good experience. Uh, But I went in and I talked to Suzanne DePass, who was in charge over there. Well, I think she was the president at that time, but she, Suzanne DePass, she had a lot of clout, and I asked her if I could leave the company, and she let me do it. And so, matter of fact, I called her. She was up in Las Vegas. They had Diana Ross up there. When Diana Ross was doing something, Motown shut down. It was all about Diana, and I tracked her down up there in, and she said okay, and she let me go. And then I went over to ABC, and I did "Cause I redid "Cause I Love You," and did the song "Choosing You" and everything. And so it just all kind of just came together. But the Motown experience was not the best, like I said, because Motown is known for success, and people were having success, and my record just wasn't selling. So I felt bad about it, and but I did something about it though. I came up with the "Choosing You" and all that stuff like that, and then revamped "Cause I Love You," and just moved on. And then as it turned out, Frank Wilson, who was with Motown, he just left. That's when a lot of the producers were leaving and going out doing their own thing. And he had done "Boogie Down Baby" and "Keep on Trucking" with
Eddie
Eddie Kendricks, right? And so I was at ABC, and they hired him to produce me. So I got Motown without being at Motown, Yeah, so it was all good. It just seemed like the Lord was ordering my steps, so to speak. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to jump into one of your classics that you did during your time with Tower of Power, and it's So Very Hard to Go. What was the meaning and powerful behind that title?
Yeah, well, it's just a love song, about somebody done messed up and about to break up, and so very hard to go. It's just a man, trying to, how I know y'all ain't never messed up. I know y'all just straight as air. Yeah, but
no comment.
Just talking about it, trying to please the case, so to speak. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we gonna play So Very Hard to Go right here with Mr. Lenny Williams.
Ain't nothing I can say, nothing I can do. I feel so bad, yeah. I feel so blue. I got to make it right for everyone concerned. Even if it's me, if it means it's me, what's getting bad? 'Cause I could never make you happy. No, I couldn't do that, girl. Only wish I could love you so. Makes it so very hard to go. 'Cause I love you so. I love you so. I knew the time would come. I'd have to pay for my mistake. I can't blame you for what you're doing to me, girl. Even though my heart aches. Your dreams have all come true, just the way you planned it. So I'll just step aside. I'm gonna step aside and lend a helping hand. 'Cause I can never make you happy. No, I couldn't do that, girl. Only wish I could love you so. Makes it so very hard to go.
Oh yeah,
Man.
So
that,
very hard to go, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, that song there, boy. Went all the way in the top 10. Number one, a lot of places all across the world, and very special song, mean a lot to me. Yeah.
Yes,
Mr. Williams, I'm gonna have to say this right here, Mr. Williams. With all my siblings, Kim is on here, Lynn is on here, my brother's on here. They always call me the spoiled one, so they always say I'm the one that gets in trouble. But if it wasn't for them doing what they were doing, I would never get in trouble. You understand? So my sister put that in the comments. So I just wanted to say that so the people know I don't get in trouble on my own. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He'll be all right.
They accomplices, right? Yeah.
That they are accomplices.
Mr. Williams, I want to go back earlier real quick, if you could just expand on, because a lot of people don't know too much about another great person you mentioned during the times of y'all growing up together and musician-wise, the great Billy Preston.
Right.
How was your relationship? And expand on it, because he was one of the great pianists and writers too.
Yeah, Billy was a bad boy, but they had a group called Kojic. They were all in the Church of God in Christ, right? And they had a group called Kojic. But Billy could play piano. Andre Krauss could play piano. Sandra Krauss could play piano. Brenda Jones was in the group. She could play piano. And Blinky Williams was in the group, and she could play piano. So when they came to a musical, whoever sat down on that stool first, I mean, can you imagine Billy Preston being in the group and he's standing up singing because somebody else in the group sat down on the piano first?
Yeah.
That's what that group was. And but Billy was he could dance, he could sing, he could do it all. I mean, he could do James Brown, dance like James Brown, just do everything. And he was just multi-talented. They called him the fifth Beatle.
Right.
So he was on. And I remember him introducing me to Mick Jagger way back in the day. I think it was like 1975. I was over in, I think we were in Germany, and they were over there recording, I think the Cathedral album or something. He introduced me to Mick, wanted me to hang out. I was like, no, I don't think so. I said, boy, I read about him, I'm going back to my room, do my little East Oakland partying, my little Arkansas partying, by myself, maybe one of the, little Fraulines or something, but no.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Lenny, as your career has advanced, you have indulged lately in Southern Soul, been on a lot of Southern Soul shows, like with Sir Charles. I think you was on the Blues Is All Right tour.
Right.
How was that experience being with those Southern Soul artists? And did a lot of them come to you for advice and mentorship during the tour?
Well, I got involved in Southern Soul maybe like about 15 years ago. And I went down there, and I remember my first show, I think Willie Clayton was on the show and somebody else, I can't think who it was, Carl Sims or somebody like that. And everybody had on they blue a red suit and red shoes. And then you say, if your suit is red, you got to wear red drawers just in case your pants fall down. Everything is coordinated. And I'm like, oh, they said, oh no, you got to go shopping for it. So then I had to, get my shopping thing together. And then I started, meeting all the different artists. And I'm a Southern boy myself. I was born in Arkansas, although I was raised in California. But my daddy's from Louisiana, so I was raised Southern. I got whoopings. You went to church. And say certain words you say. That like we say. So I fit in good, and everybody was nice. They accepted me. Not like I'm some carpetbagger from the north coming in. Intruding on their thing, and. So it was really good, and I just enjoyed it. Then I just started to see like all the new young cats like King George and everybody coming through, and Tucker and Pokey, and it's just because when I started out, the headliners was Johnny Taylor and Bobby Blue Bland and all of that, and so just kind of seeing it transform and just moving out of the South, moving all up into the Midwest and everything. And then I'll be right up here. I live up here by Napa Valley, and I'll be riding around and somebody got King George playing. I'm like, oh man, shoot, this Southern Soul's exploding everywhere. And so it's exciting, it's exciting to be a part of something that's growing. And, I'll be learning from them youngsters, and I just try to be a good example. They don't see me, chase. I know a lot of them young, they don't see me chasing, women, or don't see me, getting drunk or, or getting high and nothing like that. You see me managing my money, if something would have happened and I didn't gig for 6 months or a year or 2 years or 3 years, anybody got a hold of benefit from me. So I try to lead by example. I don't really try to go overboard, trying to be somebody's daddy or whatever like that, Grandpa Lenny. But I try to, lead by example. And I'd have to say that most, Calvin Richardson, all the youngsters, I mean, they all are good, good people that have, and extremely talented and everything. And so I learned from them. They learned from me. And, we got a good thing going. Julius Lewis, with the Blues is all right, man. He did a fantastic job. Nelly Travis out there, and then like you were talking about, Wendell B passed away. And I'm so sad to see that this morning and hear about that. And I know people in St. Louis are really hurting because I think that's where he's from.
Yes, sir.
Louis, and I've got them people in St. Louis on my mind. And Wendell B's family. He was a big boy, but he was nice. The first time I met him, I was like, ooh. He come up to me. I said, oh, I'm about to chunk with this big old boy. Real nice person and everything like that. And then we're really gonna miss him. But
yes, sir.
It's been fun. Yeah.
Now, you have a new single out called Sugar Daddy.
Yeah.
And that seems like I can't see you being a sugar daddy singer because I love you. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think you would ever have to be a sugar daddy.
Well, the thing about it was I was with Steve Russell from Troop, right?
Right.
Go for everybody, right? Bobby Brown and Chris Brown and Michael Jackson, Charlie Wilson. So we were talking. We both got daughters, and we were just talking about the dating scene, and it's like so many black men in prison and, or whatever. And, like the pool is short, and so we're talking about our daughters and just about the dating scene, should they have, share a man or whatever, or, women become, so many women becoming gay, maybe might be because of the fact they don't, the male shortage. And so we said, the subject of sugar daddies came up. And so then I asked my daughter about sugar daddies, and she said, well, me, Dad, I think sugar daddies are feminists, because if the bank won't lend you no money, sugar daddy gonna give you some money. And she said, always there. I said, oh, okay, then I said, come and get this money.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Sugar Daddy by Mr. Lenny Williams.
Come and get this money. Come and get this money. You better stop. If you need anything, you call me, girl, I got it. 'Cause I can't stand to see you all out here without it. It wouldn't be anything for me to keep you shining. I got the remedy, girl, I can solve your problems. When things start to get too rough, I'll hit the corner, scoop you up. 'Cause I got it. Slide through, get this change. Girl, I know you make some money. I'll pay the bills, you keep the change, baby. Let the sugar daddy happy, do what you want. Come through, I'll make it rain. In exchange, I want that thing. Be quiet, don't say nothing, just give it to me. Let the sugar daddy happy, do what you want. I want you. Come see me. got bills to pay, girl, let me handle that for you. If it makes you feel the way you work, girl, I'll employ you. All you gotta do is keep a smile on my face. You can have anything you want as long as you on my plate. Oh, girl, when things start to get too rough, yeah, I'll hit the corner, scoop you up. Don't worry, baby. Slide through, get this chance, get your man. I know you need something, you know I got bills, you keep the change, baby. Make sugar daddy happy, get what you want. Come through, I'll make it rain. In exchange, I want that thing. Be quiet, don't say nothing, just give it to me. Make sugar daddy happy, get what you want. And I know you need it. I want you to have it. Just come and see me. If you want your bills paid, just slide through. Don't worry, sugar daddy's got you. But you can't be choosy. Come get this money. Can't be choosy. Come and get this money. Come and get this money. You better stop. Come and get this money. You better stop. Sugar daddy, what do you need? Get this change. I know you need some cash. I need bills, you keep the change. Sugar daddy, help me do what you want. I'll make it right. In exchange, I want that thing. I'll be right. Don't say nothing, just give it. Sugar daddy, help me do what you want. Get this change. I pay the bills, you keep the change, baby. I know you like them gifts, just like I like them gifts. I know you like them gifts, baby, just like I like them gifts. Make a sugar daddy happy, get what you want.
Yes. That's a banger.
That's a banger. That's a banger. Mr. Lenny, we coming to the end of the show. This hour went by quick. Could you just tell people where they could find you on your next show, and how can they contact you for booking, and where they can find your music?
Yeah, they can contact me at lennywilliams.com, and then I'm on Twitter and Instagram at the Real Lenny Williams, and you can reach out for me there for bookings and things like that, or you can call Rogers Redding, Otis Redding's brother, down there in Macon, Georgia, at 478-742-8771, and and we'll put everything together, and we'll be there. I got my shoes shined already. They ready to go. Yeah. So we playing whatever. Come on through. Yeah.
Yes, sir, Mr. Williams. Mr. Lenny, I just want to thank you for coming on, and how much of an honor and a privilege it is to sit and speak with you, and even go through a lot of the history, because we left a lot of stuff on the table because we just wanted to get all the history from you as much as possible. You're an icon and a legend, and we salute you with everything.
And I appreciate y'all. I mean, when I was coming up, we didn't have this opportunity to have, people like ourselves didn't have the broadcast media and everything like that. And so, you guys are innovators and legends in the making as well. Your own, way of communicating with people all across the world, being in charge of the culture and everything like that. So I appreciate you and I salute you. And I'm awed by what you do and how you do it. And I want to say thank you to everybody that ever supported me in any kind of way. And I don't take it for granted, their support, and I'm humbled by it.
Thank you.
Well, big bro, you know what time it is, baby.
Yes, sir. Mr. Williams, listen, like we tell everybody, but you, trust me, you ain't got a home away from home. You got a home right here, sir, on the Real2reel360 show. If there's anything that we can do for you at any given time, don't hesitate to give us a call. We will answer that call for you.
I appreciate that too. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed. And like I said, we also want to make sure we give you your flowers while yet you live, to know the works that you have done has always been appreciative from ourselves. So we thank you again. What you got, bro? I think you got something else.
Yes, Mr. Nasty Man is in the building, DJ Dre. He said that Mr. Lenny Williams is one of the originators of the baby making music.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, I take that. I got 7 kids, so shoot, you know. I lead by example.
Well, it is definitely an honor, and we appreciate you. And we want to thank all our fans, all our followers and subscribers for listening and tuning in to tonight's show. You can also hear Mr. Williams' song, Sugar Daddy, being aired on the Real2reel360 radio show, thanks to Live 365. Go tap in and go join and listen to great music like that and the old classics. I don't call them old school. I call them classics, eclectic songs like Cause I Love You will never die. That song will last for a long time. It's already there. They should give you an award for the greatest love song of all time, period.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
All right. Well, Mr. Williams, if you can stick around 2 minutes after the show is off so we can get some other things straightened out for you, we appreciate it.
I appreciate that. Okay,
cool. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is the Real2reel360. I'm DJ K Wise. This is my brother, my love him to death, Mr. PhD Josh Allah. We say peace.
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 Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we starting to come to the end of the show. Right now, I want to take the time out and thank our guests for coming on. Also, too, we want to make sure that y'all listening and subscribing and tell a friend and keep sharing because we're going to keep bringing y'all the real content. You know what I mean? So, DJ K Wise, my brother, take us up out of here, son.
True
Peace.
I want to give a big shout out to the nation of gods and nurses, to all the human families on the planet Earth. I say peace. But to our subscribers, those who continue to watch and listen to the show each and every time we come on, I give a big shout out of love, peace, and happiness to you. To peace, the man, woman, and child of the you in our verse. It's time for us to disperse. We bring the best, not the worst. We thank you once again for tuning in to the Real 360. Bring a friend to hit that like and subscribe so we continue to grow to bring more knowledge and wisdom to you. Upon our show, you make it possible for us